Yo, poppin', popcast. Love it. Thank you, sis. Moonstruck, love it. You are amazing. So all I can do is pray for greatness for you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. You rock.
Hi, everybody. This is Samantha K from the Samantha K Experience, and welcome to another episode. Today, we're going to be talking about Godzilla versus Kong. Now, I know those of you who love monster movies. I particularly love them too myself, but I have to admit I haven't seen the last few King Kong movies or the Godzilla movies for that matter. Just because I was just kind of like never really thought they were interesting. You know, how can a big lizard not, be interesting while it's destroying something, a whole city or, almost half the world. But yeah, I just wasn't really into the whole last few monster movies, so to speak. I did have my eyes set on watching Skull Island, but I unfortunately haven't watched it yet. Just haven't had the time, and every time there was time available, I was just kind of like, you know what, let me just go watch something else. So I have to like mentally prepare myself for watching these shows, which is so weird. But anyway, so I watched Godzilla versus Kong a few nights ago. I was one of those people that, bought into the HBO Max thing, and I I added another subscription to my my debit card. Fantastic, right? So, long story short, so I watched it the other night with my boyfriend, and I gotta say, I actually did enjoy the movie. I mean, there were a few things that I had some issues with, but that's, understandable with a lot of movies nowadays. Um, I thought the special effects were pretty good. I know that a lot of issues in the past was how Godzilla looked, or even maybe I guess how Kong might have looked. But I think I might have heard back in the day, people used to make a lot of jokes about how cheesy Godzilla had looked, especially in the more recent movies. I think the one that starred Bryan Cranston, if I'm not mistaken, or the one that starred Matthew Broderick. I think that was the 98 version of Godzilla that I guess a lot of people don't like. It wasn't really all that popular, but Godzilla versus Kong was pretty good in my opinion. I think the only few things that I had an issue with, well, first of all, I'm gonna tell you what I liked about it. Like I said, I liked the special effects. The special effects were pretty good. I think the way how Godzilla looked, he looked more, to me, I guess, more realistic as special effects go these days. I loved how Kong looked. Like, Kong really looked really genuine. Even down to his mannerisms, and even like there was one scene where he was like in water, and like it was raining, it was pouring. They were out to sea, and they were transporting him to, across the ocean, which I was like, wow, how do they tranquilize this big ape? And they the water just looked so natural when he got wet, and then it was just like, wow, this looks really good for what it is. So I like the fact that his facial expressions looked real. He didn't look completely overproduced like some special effects tend to do. That it looks not genuine at all. But yeah, Kong looked really good, and so did Godzilla. Like, Godzilla looked really awesome. I mean, there was a few moments where Godzilla's like facial expressions really were like, he had like that whole bitch please kind of look, but it was fine, for what it was. I really think that, like, in terms of the fighting amongst the two of them was really good. Like, they really like threw down and destroyed like majority of Hong Kong in the process, which I still don't understand how any building survived, those two fighting, but I digress. I think it was a really good movie. I think if you go into with the idea of the relationship between Kong and the little girl, I think her name was Jai, or Gia. I think it's Jai. I don't quote me. I think it's Jai. Their relationship is that she could understand him and he could understand her through sign language, and apparently up to this point she was the only one that could communicate with him, because I don't know how or why, but she was from this village, and I think the village had gotten destroyed according to what the movie said. I don't know. I don't know if it had anything to do with the previous movie, which I think it might have been Skull Island. I don't know, but I feel that their relationship was pretty genuine, because here's this little girl and she's trying to communicate with this being, that that can obliterate practically anybody, and it's just that their communication with each other was so sweet. And the fact that you sense, like, she could sense his pain and he could sense like her pain, and they could communicate with each other. So they went away from the typical trope of the blonde girl in distress and Kong on the Empire State Building and swatting away like the planes and stuff. So it was good to see that there's a breath of fresh air in terms of the old style of thinking. So now you have this little relationship between this little girl who can communicate through sign language because she's deaf, and she can hear and sense and feel his emotions, and he can communicate with her back as well. So that was really good, relationship between her and Kong. What I don't like is, okay, so there were 3 characters in this movie that I honestly don't really understand what was their purpose. They had this conspiracy theorist guy who worked for the company Apex. He was an engineer, I believe, and he had his own podcast, and he did like this whole conspiracy thing. And I don't want to like give away too much of the movie for those of you who haven't seen it yet, but I find it kind of weird that this guy takes on these 2 kids who seemingly just find him like so easily. Like, they just went to a store and said, hey, does this guy shop here? He usually shops for like a lot of bleach, and he washes himself with bleach. I'm like, what? Like, no one should be that easy to find. And then the guy from the store the clerk tells them, oh yeah, he comes in here all the time, after they give him like $10 or something if they promise to buy like a goldfish. And I'm just like, what? Like, things like that was like so stupid to me. Like, it just didn't make any sense. And then this girl who I don't know, she's played by Millie Bobby Brown, and you could tell that it's so bad that I don't remember her character's name from the movie. I think she's kind of like, I don't want to say she's insignificant, but it's like she might as well have not have been in the movie. I mean, she was pretty much on Team Godzilla side, because she was like, well, I don't understand. He was leaving everybody alone. Why all of a sudden now he comes up to the surface and he decides to obliterate stuff because something is agitating Godzilla. And Godzilla was on this thing from the previous movies that he was like, yo, I'm gonna chill in the water, leave me alone, let me just exist, and all is good. But apparently some people don't understand the concept of leaving well enough alone, and they gotta go and dig up old shit. like, and cause problems. So here we are, and I'm just like, I don't understand. You see her, the second scene that you see her, she interacts with her father for like maybe all of like 2 minutes, and then he tells her to go home. She goes home. She get in contact with her friend. Her friend brings his brother's I guess storm van. He's a storm chaser, I believe. And then they go off to find this conspiracy theorist who works for the company that is handling Godzilla, or dealing with something with Godzilla and DNA. And I'm just like, he should not be this easy to find. Like, I know he's not like a scientist and stuff, but it kind of makes me like, okay, you're setting up things a little bit too easy for these characters to meet up with each other. I mean, she's a high school kid. What does she have any business doing with all of this crazy nonsense? Like, she should be home studying and focusing on that, not worrying about chasing around a big lizard who could crush her without even a thought. Like, so, and then her friend who's just there, he's just only there to exist to be annoying and complain. Like, I don't even understand why this actor, or why they even brought this character in here, because he just really didn't serve. Actually, I shouldn't say he didn't serve a purpose. He served some of a purpose. And he was kind of beneficial in the fight between Godzilla and the other creature that is inside this movie, aside from Kong himself. But it just kind of, I don't want to like give too much in case you guys haven't seen that the movie yet, but it just kind of makes you wonder, like, what were they thinking, And it just, like, there was things like I had problems with. Like, for example, on the Kong side, you had the scientist called I think his name was Dr. Lind. It was played by Alexander Skarsgård. And you guys don't know who he is. He used to be in True Blood. He played Eric Northman on the show. And he's been in countless other things. I also think he did Tarzan as well, the remake within the last couple of years. And I'm like, okay, so this rich guy comes up to you. These two gentlemen come up to you, and they propose this idea that you get to go through the hollow earth or whatever, because his brother died on an expedition there to try to get to the hollow earth, which is supposed to be, I think, where Kong is supposed to be from, or they're trying to get him home. And I'm just like, okay, so you're obviously looking at this from a standpoint of, hey, I want to get to this place, I want to reach this place no matter what. And I get it, and I understand it wholeheartly. But then I'm like, when they finally get there, and the guy, I think his name was Walter Simmons, who's head of the whole Apex thing, the whole Apex lab. I'm like, why didn't you just, like, I don't know, it just feels like, I feel like Alexander's character should have been asking more questions in terms of, hey, this rich guy's gonna give me funding to go to this place and give me people that I'm gonna need. And then once they finally get there, after they transported Kong through the Antarctica, which I don't understand why we were even there, but I digress on that. I was just like, okay, well, why didn't they just ask questions? Like, I feel like, why are you guys here? What else are you looking for? It's not just about transporting him home. What are you doing? Like, what is your end game in all of this? What are you guys getting out of it? It was like questions that people should have been asking, they didn't ask. And then when I brought this up to my boyfriend about it, he was like, babe, why would they ask questions? He's just only going there to see how the place is and to actually experience what it's like. I'm like, but okay, so let's backtrack a bit. I'm thinking of it as, you came to me and you want me to form a expedition. So I decide to go and contact the lady who obviously knows who Kong is and is affiliated with Kong. And then I just say, hey, we're going to bring him back to find a place for him. But then it's like, you don't ask any other questions, bro? Like, I feel like there's things here that I feel like the humans in this movie, with the exception of the little girl, make such stupid decisions. It's just like, what? Like, I don't understand. And then even in the ending, it's kind of like, okay, so what now? Like, do we even get an answer to this question? Like, Godzilla versus Kong? Like, is there a definitive answer here? So I'm stuck thinking, like, all right, well, it was a good movie. I mean, if you just like the complete and utter destruction of cities and people dying, but what is the final verdict here? So, I mean, there's a few, like, I mean, I don't know, guys. I know I feel like I'm talking all over myself here. I'm tripping up all over myself. But it just feels like the movie, it was good if you just like the action part. The human communications and all the other stuff, like people not asking the right questions, people just aimlessly letting, 16, 17-year-old kids running around with a stranger they don't know and being shunted through the equivalency of a rocket through, to get to the laboratory where they had these eggs and whatnot that probably is going to set up for another future endeavor in this monster movie clash, which is kind of scary. The skull crawlers, I think they said they were. I'm like, yeah, I'm not looking forward to those either. But anyway, I'm just like, I don't know, guys. Like, let me know what you guys think. Overall, if you want to just watch some action and some destruction, then this movie is good for you. If you really don't care about the story or any of its actual human characters, then I guess this is also for you. Like, I think it was good for if you want to fight, but as of like actual dialogue and things of not logically making any sense in terms of why are we doing this and what's the end game here, then yeah, it kind of falls short. Like, I get it that it's supposed to be like let's see who's better, like who's the better badass, but if it was up to me, I think I would have just given this movie about a 7. And that's just giving it for the great special effect. Well, the good special effects. I don't know if any movie has great special effects, but I will give a 7 because of the special effects and the fight between Godzilla and Kong. Like, Kong was like beasting, but Godzilla had him. But I'm not gonna tell you who wins or who loses or anything like that. You guys will have to see the movie for yourself. But in any case, this is Samantha, and this has been the Samantha K Experience. See you guys in the next episode where we cover Zack Snyder's Justice League.